DE have adjusted the drop rates for Citrine and more in mirror defense with the release of Hildren Prime. Of course, the question is, how much better has this made things? I'm Nick Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. Firstly, a rundown of the actual changes. On rotation A, DE removed the credit drop and replaced it with Neo Relics. On rotation B, the Neo Relic chances were reduced from a total of 53.2% to 40.6%. That difference is instead taken up by Citrine's weapon parts, climbing from 6% each to 8% each, and the two rotation B arcanes going from 5.4% to 5.7% each. Similarly, rotation C saw the Axi Relics drop from 64.4% in total to just 55.3%, with each of Citrine's blueprints being about 1/3 more common. Once again, the final three arcanes on rotation C have been raised to 5.7% chance each. In short, this means no more credit drops, more shop item drops, though it's only a small increase when it comes to the arcanes. My thanks to those who maintain the wiki for the clean layout of the drop tables for our reference. Theoretically, the improved drop rates for shop items means you'll be relying less on Otak Store to obtain Citrine and the rest of the mirror defense loot, potentially completing this farm even quicker. As it stands, these changes are slight enough that the minimum and maximum runs you'll need haven't changed. You'll still gain around 150 of each crystal fragment in a highly effective squad on the steel path over the course of 25 minutes. A couple percentage points added onto Citrine's drops is not going to change that. However, it does mean that the chance of getting a full set for Citrine in just 5 runs has improved from 14% to 23% if you're running efficiently on the steel path. Likewise, the chance of needing the maximum 11 runs has dropped from around 10% to just 4%. Overall, many players could end up needing one fewer run for the same level of luck. In terms of averages, the mean time to get Citrine has dropped from 197 minutes of mission time to 179 minutes, a 9% saving, again for those of you running efficient steel path squads. If you're not on the steel path, the results are similar but longer, averaging 221 minutes of mission time, down from 246 for a full set, again about a 10% average time saving. This means that fewer than 1% of players being efficient on the normal mode will have to go the full 16 runs to complete Citrine. If we expand our view to the weapons as well, those buff drop rates once again have a modest impact. While previously only 22% of players would manage to get Citrine and her weapons finished within 10 runs of rotation C on the steel path, efficient squads can now achieve that 44% of the time, so that's twice as often. Again, most players will get away with 1 or potentially 2 fewer runs than under the original drop rates. And mind you, the average time is still multiple hours. The simulated average time on the steel path to get Citrine and her weapons has dropped from 298 minutes to 270, while on the normal mode it dropped from 364 minutes to 324. Again, this is about a 10% time saving on average, depending slightly on your own luck. But then we come to the arcanes. Without even needing to look at a simulation, you can just look at the drop rates logically. A change from 5.4% or 5.1% to 5.7% isn't exactly groundbreaking. Each arcane costs 60 of each crystal to get, so 1,260 to max it out. If you grab 144 crystals per rotation C, then in the 9 runs it'd take to get enough crystals to max out one arcane, there's a 59% chance you won't have received any of that arcane as a drop along the way. Prior to the release of Hildren Prime, that was 61 to 62%, so it's not much change at all. Indeed then, this is reflected in the time it takes to finish farming all the drops for Citrine, her weapons, and the arcanes. Whether you're on the steel path or normal mode, an efficient squad's average time is only about 2 to 3% faster with this change, and that includes the effect of getting Citrine and her weapons more easily too. Across the farm with a mean time of 18 to 24 hours, the drop rate changes save about half an hour for pretty much any amount of luck you may have. Ultimately, these changes are designed to make Citrine and her weapons ever so slightly faster to acquire, and otherwise do away with the credit reward, which was, frankly, rather disappointing to have at this level. In the long run, this is going to save you at best half an hour if you're being efficient about it. If you're not being efficient about farming this mission, then the only difference you'll notice is you'll no longer get credit drops from reward rotation A. So let me know in the comments, do you enjoy the farm for Citrine and her signature kit? In any case, that's all from me on this topic, so as always, farm crystals, skip credits, and fight well, Tenno.